Hi, Beck Mack here for Popsart, and I am here for Trace. Trace is the biennial exhibition and auction that takes artwork, top contemporary artwork, and puts it into the street, the cafes, the bars, and maybe even the chemist of West End. Now, we're going to have a sneaky peek of what the artist Sam Cranston is bringing to the show. This is his studio. Let's see what he's doing. He may be playing piano. Let's find out. Sam, hello. How are you?
Hello, how you going?
Good to see you.
Mwah, good to see you.
Thanks
too.
for having us.
Not a problem at all.
Yeah, how are you? What have you been up to today? Been playing piano, I hear.
A little bit of piano, a little bit of running around town, drawing, piano, all the essentials.
A true Renaissance man, I see. Now, tell us about the work you're bringing to Trace. This is it here. Can you just
So this is the work that I've got for Trace this year, and so it's an oil painting. In the past, a lot of my work has looked at history, different historical events and figures, and part of my research just involves finding images, keeping images, archiving images. And so for this, the body of work that this one's from, it takes a lot of those images and kind of presents them out of context, outside of the original focus that I had, the original project, and basically takes all these colourful, different colours, different content, and just sort of crams it all together in painted collage, basically.
because this is the most powerful, remarkable image. You've got a Nike ball heading for the face of Kim Jong-un. I mean, he's leaving a plane. Like, it says so much to me. As the maker, did you have a clear intent of what you're trying to communicate here, or?
For me, it's very much about kind of robbing the images of their original meaning and their original context, but then kind of giving the viewer the opportunity to make their own interpretation. So things like the image of the basketball refers to American content, American pop culture, and obviously Kim Jong-un is a powerful current contemporary geopolitical reference, but then together, you think about things like Dennis Rodman being the unofficial ambassador to for the United States to North Korea, and all those stories unfolding. So yeah, for me, it's about bringing those sort of ideas to the work, but not making them too explicit, leaving them to the viewer to kind of piece together as well.
And is there a moment when you put these pieces together, there's like a happy surprise or mistake where you went, oh, I couldn't even thought of that myself?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's the beauty of that kind of, having the work as sort of like a Rorschach test for the viewer. No interpretation is wrong. Everything's kind of correct. So whatever connection a viewer makes, that's sort of, as just as valid as anything that I could think up, for sure.
Now, you are a true Renaissance man because you work across mediums. You do sculpture, you do drawing, you do painting. So can you tell us a little bit about your practice? Because it's really broad.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, this series that this work came from was probably the biggest shift from my past work. But often I like to research different historical figures and events and just sort of explore them. In the past, I've looked at a member of the British royal family called Lord Mountbatten, who was killed by the IRA in the 70s, and I went and tracked down the boat that he used to use that was bombed in 1979. Found the family that took care of that boat. I've made work about the moon landings. I've made work about JFK, and so for me, I'm kind of really interested in history, but then how history is kind of told through pop culture and how that can kind of lead to a compromised interpretation of the past.
Yeah. And so this piece here, that is sort of similar what you're talking around, like there's a reference to history in the past in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment, I'm actually working on a project about a Greek town planner who moved to Brisbane in the 1950s. He basically came here to get his career up and running. He couldn't get any opportunities, and so had to farm tomatoes for 3 years in Rochdale, and then after deeming his time in Brisbane an abject failure, moved back to Greece, and then became instantly well known. He ended up designing the city of Islamabad in Pakistan and working throughout Europe and
What a loss!
I know.
Brisbane could have looked completely different.
Completely, and we just sort of totally didn't make the most of this opportunity. But for him, he was really interested in how ancient Greece and ancient Greek architecture could inform contemporary architecture, and he was quite active in the 60s and 70s, and so I'm sort of making a lot of work that explores his interests and his ideas, and so again it's that interest in history, but it's contemporary history and ancient history all sort of together in one, really. Yeah.
How great. You're like a historian in a way. Like you're going back into the past and digging out these stories. It's fantastic.
The amateur bedroom historian, I think.
And then finally, so Trace takes work out of the gallery context and places it into the community, into community spaces that are public. How do you feel that works for you as an artist, and particularly even this piece? It's quite a large piece. Like, is it going to change how we perceive it?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, like I was saying before, the interest in this series and this work in particular is really what interpretation the viewer brings to the work. So to take it outside of the gallery space and to put it in a context that's entirely different to where it would normally be seen, it just kind of furthers that a more exciting and more left of center interpretation of the work, and I couldn't be more excited for that.
Fantastic. Well, you've been in it once before, Sam. I know that, and it's so great that you're part of it again. So thanks so much for your time.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you.